Hi, I'm Phyllis from southernfrugal.com. Tonight we are going to make a banana cream pie, and it's going to be kind of a big pie with a lot of meringue on it. It's going to be the old-fashioned banana cream pie, and I've already made the crust. That's already baked and everything, and what I'll do is I'll put the recipe down below, but I'll also put a link right with it because I've already done a video on a pie crust, so I'll put that link right down below in the description. Alright, so we're ready to get started. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and make our filling. I'm going to go ahead and turn my burner right on up on high right to start with and get the burner hot. So, 2/3 of a cup of sugar. I put that in first, and then 1/4 of a cup of cornstarch. Put that in, and you put it in that order because that way the sugar helps break up the cornstarch, hopefully, so you won't have any lumps. And I just stir that around. Alright, and then we're going to add, this is 2 cups of milk, just regular whole milk, and then 1 cup of half and half because we want it really rich. So we're going to go ahead and dump that into the pot. And then I'm just going to use my whisk and get that all mixed up. Now the cornstarch is what's going to make it thick. And we're also going to add 4 egg yolks, but we're going to wait till this starts thickening, and then we're going to temper these egg yolks with some of the hot mixture, and then we'll end up dumping them in. The other thing you'll need is 2 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to use 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. Now, some recipes call for a whole tablespoon, but I just really like it with just 2 teaspoons. So I've got my burner actually on high, but I'm just stirring it constantly. You don't want this to really come to a boil, not yet anyway. Alright, so I'm going to continue stirring this until it's, first of all, right now the milk is cold, so it's going to take a few minutes and we'll be back. Okay, it's been just probably about 3 minutes, and I did have my burner on high. I'm going to turn that burner down to medium, a little past medium, because I do not want this to boil, because if it boils, the milk sometimes is going to curdle. So you don't want it to boil. Alright, so I'm just going to slip it off the burner, because I of course don't want it sticking to the bottom. Now you do have to stir this constantly, because that milk will scorch. Alright, so I'm going to move it off the burner. It's thickened up just a little bit. And I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, because we're going to add 4 egg yolks. So I'm going to slip this off the burner. Now the burner is down even past medium. So now I'm going to temper my egg yolks. This is 4 egg yolks. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to use a little fork for this. Just beat those egg yolks a little bit. And now I'm going to add just a little bit of the hot liquid, because you don't want the egg yolks to cook. Just beat it again. And I'm going to add a little bit more, just a little bit. And quickly beat it. Let's go with one more time. A little bit more this time. Okay, now so my egg yolks are tempered now, and we're going to add them to the hot liquid. Put it right back on the burner. Go ahead and put those in and just use the whisk right away and mix it all up. Get all of it in there. And by the way, this is so much better than the instant pudding you get in the store. It just is hard to describe the difference, but it's so much better. So now we want it to almost come to a boil. because it's cooking those egg yolks. See how smooth it is? And as those egg yolks cook, they're going to cause it to become even thicker. And again, you want to make sure it does not boil. Let me get the rest of the egg yolks out of this little bowl. Alright, that ought to do it. Alright, so it's already starting to get a little thicker. As soon as it gets a little thicker and almost ready to boil, we're going to put the vanilla in and the 2 tablespoons of butter. Let's see where it is now. It's almost ready to start boiling, so we'll just cook it a few more minutes. Because it really doesn't take any time for those egg yolks to cook in this hot milk mixture. Yeah, it's right ready to boil. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put in the 2 tablespoons of butter. And I'm going to go ahead and put in the vanilla. I'm going to move it off the burner because I don't want it to boil. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And if you want to go ahead and put in a tablespoon, you could. I just don't like that much vanilla. I like to be able to taste the bananas. Alright. My vanilla keeps falling over. Stand up there. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and cut that burner off now and just keep stirring it till the vanilla is incorporated and the butter. And this will get a lot firmer once it cools, but we're not going to really let it get cool because we're going to dump it in the baked pie shell with it still hot, and then we're going to put our meringue right on top of that. Really, that sort of helps cook the meringue, really. So I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees, and we are going to bake the meringue until it's lightly browned on top, which would probably take 8 to 12 minutes maybe, depending on your oven. Okay, now my burner is off, so I'm going to make sure it's not going to start boiling because that burner is still hot. Yeah, it's going to try to boil, so we're going to have to push it off the burner for a little while. Alright, so now we're ready to make the meringue. Now, this whole recipe takes 5 whole eggs, and these are large eggs. And so I've got 5 egg whites in the bowl here, and they've been sitting out for a while, so they're pretty much at room temperature. Now, I put 4 yolks in the pudding. And the other egg yolk went into the crust. So you'll use really 5 eggs total. Alright, so we're ready to do the meringue now. And what I usually do is on the meringue, if you want to make a whole bunch of a meringue, all you have to remember is to use 2 tablespoons of sugar for every egg white you're using. That'll usually make pretty good meringue. Now I go ahead in the beginning and put in cream of tartar. Now I have actually used cornstarch if I didn't have any cream of tartar. Sometimes I just use cornstarch because it's just easier to get to. Of course, you add a couple of tablespoons of that if you're going to use cornstarch. Alright, so this time we're going to use half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. I just go ahead and put that in, and because I've got 5 egg whites, I'm using 10 tablespoons of sugar. So we're going to go ahead and start mixing this up. It's going to be kind of loud, so alright, I'm going to just start it and then I'll turn the camera off. We'll turn it back on when they get all peaked up. just say this, when you start adding the sugar, you want to do it gradually, and you want to do it once it gets a little foamy, and then you want to keep beating it until, well, if you touch the egg whites, get them in between your finger. If it still feels gritty, you need to keep beating it until it's real smooth. Alright, so we'll be back. Alright, I've gotten my egg whites all beaten up. I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of vanilla to this, the beaten egg whites. Just a half a teaspoon. Now you can get clear vanilla. Some people like to do that when they're making meringue. Now here's the other thing. Make sure your bowl has no grease on it that you're mixing them in, because it'll cause your egg whites not to beat up properly. And really, you almost can't use plastic when you're making meringue. Make sure your beaters are really super clean also. You know, with no grease on them is what I'm trying to say. Alright, we're going to beat this up real quick. There. Now, to make sure, I always like to do this, it scares people and it sometimes scares me, to make sure that your egg whites are thoroughly beaten. Just turn it upside down. If it stays in there, if it doesn't stay in there, it'll be on your counter or your stove. But anyway, that's sort of how I tell. Alright, so I've got my filling here, and it's still warm. It's beginning to thicken up already. So I'm going to put it back on that burner, which is still a little warm. Set my meringue aside, and we're getting ready to make this pie. Put it all together. Alright, this is my pie crust I baked. It's actually still just a teeny bit warm. I baked this before I got started on everything. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and put our bananas in there. Excuse me. So I'm going to use these 4 large bananas. I'll just save those for the smoothies. So what you want to do is actually put the bananas in first, and then we're going to pour the filling over that. So y'all just have to bear with me while I'm peeling these. I mean, I know you know how to peel bananas. So just peel them and let them fall right in there. Actually, maybe I should cut it off so this won't be so long. We'll be back when I've sliced all the 4 bananas. Okay, I decided to move y'all in a little closer so you could see this a little better. Alright, so what we're going to do now is pour the pudding mixture right over these bananas. Now this is going to be a large pie. What I'm going to do is just kind of lift some of those bananas so that pudding will run all in between them and under them and whatever. Now, if you don't like, you know, so many bananas in there, I guess you could just use, you know, 3 bananas or even 2 bananas if that's what you wanted to do. Just picking some of them up so that pudding runs all the way down to the bottom. All right. Now we're ready to dump the rest of it on. Pudding is good and hot. Right, hold on a minute. Alright, we're back. Sorry, I had to kind of go blow my nose because we got so much pollen in the air here. It's springtime and the pine trees are putting out their pollen. Sometimes the clouds actually look green because we have so many pine trees here in South Carolina. All right, now let's see if I can find my spoon. There it is. So what we're going to do is dump this meringue on right in the middle all at one time, or as much as we can do at one time. And I don't want it to make my pudding run out, so we'll distribute it a little bit. Again, this meringue was made with 5 egg whites, 10 tablespoons of sugar, half a teaspoon of vanilla, and a half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. Alright, I don't really do anything fancy here. All you need to do is make absolutely sure the meringue is stuck to the pie crust all the way around. Don't leave any little air pockets if you can help it. See? Let me see if I can come closer. Nope. There. Alright, watch this now. Just make sure that it's completely stuck to the pie crust, because you don't want it to separate after you cook it. So I just go around right to start with and make sure the meringue is stuck to that crust. And we're going to bake this for probably 8 to 10 minutes in the oven, and part of the cooking process for the egg whites has already begun because the filling was hot. Alright, so I've got it all sealed. This is what we call sealing the pie crust. And now if you want to make some little designs, you can. I usually just like to spread it out, because if you make it up in peaks, those peaks will get brown. Sometimes they actually get almost burned before the rest of the meringue really gets done. So I like to just kind of swirl it around and not really leave any peaks. Alright, there it is. And so what we're going to do now is put this in the oven. Let me back off now. Put it in the oven at 400 degrees, and we want to bake it for 8 to 10 minutes or until it gets good and, you know, brown all over. Alright, so when it gets done, we'll be back. Okay, the banana cream pie is all done. The meringue's all cooked. And what I generally do, and this is just a little tip if you have a problem with your meringue deflating, what I do is cut the oven off and just leave it sitting there for 15 or 20 minutes and then move it to the counter. Now, I'm not going to do a picture of where we cut the pie because it's going to be a while and it's already getting kind of late. So anyway, that's what it looks like, and I hope y'all will try this all from scratch. It's so much better than if you get that imitation pudding, I call it. Alright, so we will see y'all next time.